My dear viewers and my beloved students, it is great to come back to you with the second part of the lesson, The Portrait of a Lady. Welcome to this session. In this session, I will read out from paragraph 6 to 13, give the meanings of difficult words and explain certain parts from the text. I hope that it will help you. It will help my students and viewers. Part 2, paragraph 6. As the year rolled by, we saw less of each other. For some time, she continued to wake me up and get me ready for school. When I came back, she would ask me what the teacher had taught me. I would tell her English words and little things of Western science and learning, the law of gravity, Archimedes' principle, the world being round, etc. This made her unhappy. She could not help me with my lessons. She did not believe in the things they taught at the English school and was distressed that there was no teaching about God and the scriptures. One day I announced that we were being given music lessons. She was very disturbed. To her, music had lewd associations. It was the monopoly of harlots and beggars and not meant for gentlefolk. She said nothing, but her silence meant disapproval. She rarely talked to me after that. Dear students, in this paragraph we have seen how the grandmother was upset about the kind of lesson the author was getting from school. She did not like the lessons being taught in the school because she was not able to explain certain things or many things from the lessons, and she did not like Western education also. Another reason for not liking is that there was no teaching from the religious scriptures and related to God, etc. So she was upset with the kind of lesson that the author was getting in school, in English school. Now the word meanings. Number 1, lewd associations. Here, low values, the value that does not give you moral boost. Number 2, monopoly, complete control. 3, harlots, indecent women. 4, disapproval, a feeling that you don't like an idea. Now, paragraph 7. When I went up to university, I was given a room of my own. The common link of friendship was snapped. My grandmother accepted her seclusion with resignation. She rarely left her spinning wheel to talk to anyone. From sunrise to sunset, she sat by her wheel, spinning and reciting prayers. Only in the afternoon she relaxed for a while to feed the sparrows. While she sat in the veranda breaking the bread into little bits, hundreds of little birds collected round her, creating a veritable bedlam of chirrupings. Some came and perched on her legs, others on her shoulders. Some even sat on her head. She smiled but never shooed them away. It used to be the happiest half an hour of the day for her. Here the grandmother tried to find out some alternative measures to entertain her because there was hardly any association with the grandmother and author. Slowly the author was going far away from the grandmother. So grandmother found something to entertain her, and the little birds, the sparrows, were her company now. Word meanings. Snapped, broken. Accepted her seclusion with resignation. Accepted the fact to leave alone. 3, rarely, hardly. 4, a veritable bedlam of chirrupings. Perfect chaos of twittering birds. Here the sparrows. Should, induced to leave. Paragraph 8. When I decided to go abroad for further studies, I was sure my grandmother would be upset. I would be away for 5 years, and at her age, one could never tell, but my grandmother could. She was not even sentimental. She came to leave me at the railway station, but did not talk or show any emotion. Her lips moved in prayer. Her mind was lost in prayer. Her fingers were busy telling the beads of her rosary. Silently she kissed my forehead, and when I left, I cherished the moist imprint as perhaps the last sign of physical contact between us. The students, here also we have seen how the grandmother was very quiet and did not even talk to the author when he was going abroad. She was constantly praying and saying her prayer. And here the word meanings: sentimental, emotional. Her fingers were busy telling the beads of her rosary. The grandmother was saying the prayer. This is actually personification because the fingers have been personified. This can also be synecdoche. That means part for whole and whole for part. Here the fingers means the grandmother. Fingers were telling the prayers. Grandmother was telling the prayers. So it is synecdoche. Number 3, cherished, nurtured. Now paragraph 9. But that was not so. After 5 years, I came back home and was met by her at the station. She did not look a day older. She still had no time for words. And while she clasped me in her arms, I could hear her reciting her prayers. Even on the first day of my arrival, her happiest moments were with her sparrows, whom she fed longer and with frivolous rebukes. Dear student, this depicts another part. The author comes back after his study. Then also the grandmother was like that. She was not even a year older. She looked as she was previously. Here we find grandmother was still quiet and she did not look even older, and she welcomed the author back home again, but she was quiet as usual. Her association was with the sparrows and she was busy in feeding them and taking care of them and enjoying their company. Word meaning: clasped, held tightly. Frivolous rebukes, mild scolding, not serious scolding. Now paragraph 10. In the evening, a change came over her. She did not pray. She collected the women of the neighborhood, got an old drum and started to sing. For several hours, she thumped the sagging skins of the dilapidated drum and sang of the homecoming of warriors. We had to persuade her to stop to avoid overstraining. That was the first time since I had known her that she did not pray. The grandmother did not talk to the author, dear students. She was happy that he came back home, and she was so happy that she gathered few women from the neighborhood and started singing the song of homecoming of warrior. Here the word meanings: thumped the sagging skins of the dilapidated drum. That means she played the drum which was very old and bad in condition. Thumped means beat. She was beating the drum. Number 3, sagging. Sagging means hanging down. And 4, dilapidated. Dilapidated means old and very bad in condition. Persuaded. Persuaded means convinced. Number 6, overstraining. Overstraining means subject to excessive demand on strength and ability. Now paragraph 11. The next morning she was taken ill. It was a mild fever, and the doctor told us that it would go. But my grandmother thought differently. She told us that her end was near. She said that since only a few hours before the close of the last chapter of her life, she had omitted to pray, she was not going to waste any more time talking to us. Here, my dear students, the grandmother could understand that she was going to die. She was going to face the last chapter of her life. That means she was going to die here. The word meanings: taken ill, became sick. Number 2, last chapter of her life, the last phase of her life. Here this is used metaphorically. Chapter refers to the last stage of her life. Omitted means stopped. Paragraph 12. We protested, but she ignored our protest. She lay peacefully in bed, praying and telling her beads. Even before we could suspect, her lips stopped moving and the rosary fell from her lifeless fingers. A peaceful pallor spread on her face, and we knew that she was dead. So the grandmother, the very beloved grandmother of the author, died What meaning? Telling her beads, saying her prayers and counting the beads of the rosary. Pallor means the pale color of the face, the paleness of the face. Dear student, we come to the last paragraph of this story, this biographical story, paragraph 13. We lifted her off the bed and, as is customary, laid her on the ground and covered her with a red shroud. After a few hours of mourning, we left her alone to make arrangements for her funeral. In the evening, we went to her room with a crude structure to take her to be cremated. The sun was setting and had lit her room and veranda with a blaze of golden light. We stopped halfway in the courtyard, all over the veranda, and in her room right up to where she lay dead and stiff, wrapped in the red shroud. Thousands of sparrows sat scattered on the floor. There was no chirping. We felt sorry for the birds, and my mother fetched some bread for them. She broke it into little crumbs, the way my grandmother used to, and threw it to them. The sparrows took no notice of the bread. When we carried my grandmother's corpse off, they flew away quietly. Next morning, the sweeper swept the breadcrumbs into the dustbin. Dear students, in this paragraph we have seen how even the sparrows bid farewell to the grandmother. They were also very sad and sorry for what had happened. They loved the grandmother so much that they did not like to touch the crumbs of food, and they quietly flew away. Dear students, here are the word meanings. Number 1, customary, usual. Number 2, shroud, a piece of cloth to cover dead body. 3, mourning, means lamenting. 4, funeral, religious ceremony before cremating, that means burning a body. 5, crude structure, rough frame. Cremated, burnt the dead body. Blaze, bright, shine. 8, wrapped, covered. 9, chirping, that means chirping, making short, high sound. Crumbs, very small pieces of food. Corpse, dead body. Sweeper swept. Here the sweeper cleaned the place where the crumbs of food were lying. So my dear students, we have come to the end of this video. Thanks for watching. I believe that you have enjoyed the video. Kindly like, share, comment and subscribe for this video. And don't forget to watch the last part of the lesson. That is the third part. There I'm going to discuss the question and answers and some other aspects from the lesson. I hope that you will enjoy that also. So till then, goodbye. Have a very good day.